Okay, we're going to get going. Greg's here. All right, we're going to get going, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Today is May 24th, 2021. My name is Chris Pia, Chairman for the WPCA of Stratford. We're going to begin, bless you. We're going to begin with tonight's posted public hearing for the WPCA. And Carol, do we have anybody signed up currently?
No one.
I failed to mention for the record it was 7:01 when I started. No one signed up. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for the public hearing for the WPCA this evening? Going once, going twice. Okay, no one has spoken, no one has signed up, and therefore I will close the public hearing at 7:02. All right, we will begin the regularly scheduled WPCA for the Town of Stratford meeting on May 24th, 2021. My name is Chris Pia, Chairman. It is 7:03 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for attending. It's really nice to get back to some sort of normalcy and see people's faces, not through a computer screen anymore. So thank you all for that. We're going to get going with approval of the minutes. Before I call for a motion, there was one item we just, if anyone would like to make the motion on it, but Mr. Casey had requested we just amend one item. It was a small typo in the address that was discussed last month. So if you saw his report, you'll see that. So I will I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
Laura Dancho, I motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, motion by Ms. Dancho. Do I have a second to approve? Second by Mr. Wow, these glares are awful. Second by Mr. O'Brien. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we amend item 4.B of the agenda to correct the address to 246 Hilltop Drive.
Okay, motion to amend by Ms. Dancho. Do I have a second to the motion? Second. Second by Mr. O'Brien. Any discussion on the amendment? Pretty straightforward. Nope. Okay, we'll call a vote on the amendment only. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Back to the original motion. Any discussion as amended? Nope. Okay. Call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Thank you all. Item number 3, Town Engineer Report. Mr. Casey, how are you, sir?
Very well, thank you. Should I go through the report, or do you want to talk about action items?
If we could do, yeah, let's start with the action items.
Okay, we have a request. We have 2 items. One is a request for connection to the sewer at 170 Ornoak Lane. I forwarded the letter out to you dated May 3rd, and they have a failing septic system as reported, and in order for them to connect to the sanitary sewer system, the sewer, which is located in front of the adjacent property, which is the Ornoak Firehouse, would have to be extended up to their property, and then they could tie into it.
So this would be for an extension. And approximately how far? You said from the fire department to there. How? Just out of curiosity.
Let's say 150 feet, just as
an extension. Okay. So we have an extension for action item 1B for 170 Ornoak Lane. Mr. Town Attorney, do you have? We had talked about one thing on this, and if you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I believe that this would require an 824 referral, but what I would ask is if the matter could be tabled so I could look into it, and I will report back next month.
Just a little understanding as to why you're thinking on the 824.
Yes, so under Connecticut General Statute 824, generally speaking, when there's a municipal improvement of a utility, I believe that it has to be referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a report. And the function of the 824 is if it's a favorable report, it's a simple majority to pass the motion. If it's a negative report, it would require a supermajority. But I just want to make sure that it's absolutely required. So if I could get this matter tabled for a month, I'll report back next month.
Okay, so you're requesting we table or send it to the town attorney's office for further review to report back next month?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I'll entertain that motion if someone would like to make it. That WPC attorney Vin Marino's proposed.
This is Laura Dancho. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Dancho, thank you. Do I have a second? Seconded by Bill Perillo. Any discussion on the motion? Want to double check? Okay. Okay, excellent. So all those in favor of tabling and allowing the town attorney to look into for a further month, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Thank you, Mr. Marino. Mr. Casey, back to you, sir.
The next item is a property on 230 Ferry Boulevard that is looking to connect the currently on septic system. They have it's a commercial property. They have a small amount of bathrooms for their facility. And we, as a matter of course, calculated the sewer connection charge for commercial property, which, as you know, calculates equivalent units, number of units for a commercial property based on a residential style comparison. And the estimate was approximately 5 units, 5.4 units actually. And based on the number of equivalent units, that's what the fee would be for the connection charges and the trunk charges. And the owner has requested consideration, since they're not developing the property, if there could be some consideration for reducing the fee or deferring the fee. I suggested deferring the fee, and I think that's what I presented in my memo.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Casey. I agree with you. I think working with the property owner is a good thing. Is it possible that we can, again, don't hold me to the quick math, but 5.4 divided by, 21,816 divided by 5.4, and we can build in maybe some legal language to say, we'll charge you this now, and then, but going forward, if you ever do attempt to, pull a permit to develop further, you're going to have to come back and pay that. Is that something we can essentially do?
I think that's something you can do, and that's a policy question I think that you want to discuss.
Okay.
We haven't done this before. We generally, our implementation policy was that when you're taking a building permit, you have to pay all the fees.
Okay.
In this case, they're not taking a building permit because they're not building, they're just looking to connect, what building exists in the same use that exists today. So I think if you're going to approve something like that, we should probably have some kind of, policy that you're approving, and then use this as a test case.
And and then I'll open it up to,
Mr.
can you weigh in?
Connecticut General Statute 7-255 allows the WPCA to establish and revise fair and reasonable charges for connection through the public hearing process. And the body can consider a number of things in coming to what would be a fair and reasonable connection. That would include the volume of water discharged into the sewer system, the type or size of building connected with the system, the number of persons customarily using the property served. The statute lays out a number of things that you can consider. So I do believe that you have that discretion. I think that if this matter were referred to me so I can speak with the applicant and find out what they were thinking, then we can bring it back to the body next month, and what we would then do is refer it out for public hearing.
Let me ask you one question, then I'll open it up. I'm reading the letter from, I believe, the applicant's attorney, Mr. Kevin Kaiser. Paragraph 2, but since the property is contaminated, I know where the property is. I'm assuming it's part of the Raymark piece there.
Yes.
Does that in any way, I think working with them is the right thing to do is my point, but does that in any way add anything into it?
Well, Mr. Chair, what I would say is, so obviously you're saying there's a failing septic system. So because of the contamination of the property, they cannot put in a new septic system. So connecting to the sewers is their only option. So I think working with the property owner, because of the the minimal amount of impact it's going to have to your system makes the most sense. And then when there's future development, you can re-examine the charge.
Yeah, even the charge, even if we, whatever we charge, there is not a deferment, but a periodic payment allowed. So we can, that's already something that the board has already approved, a policy for a multiple year payback. So it's just a question of what that initial fee should be that they're going to pay, and then he does have years to pay it off. I think it was up to, had to do with the amount, so if it was more, you had more years. I forget exactly. I think it was, you know, if it was a $10,000 charge, you'd have 10 years, that type of thing.
So maybe, John, I'm tending to agree with Mr. Marino. Maybe we can refer this to the town attorneys tonight. You guys can maybe discuss on this and maybe reach out to their representation and have something back before us for next month.
Sure.
Is there anyone else like to discuss anything further on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. I think everyone's in agreement on that. Excuse me. So I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion
Ms.
to
Dancho.
defer this item 1.C to the town attorneys for further assessment.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Dancho. Second by Mr. Connor. Any further discussion on it? No? Okay. Looks like we're good. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Thank you, Mr. Marino, Mr. Casey. John, is there anything you'd like to highlight in the summary report, or because I know everything was given out ahead of time? Or if anybody has any questions for you regarding the summary report?
Yeah, the only thing I would highlight is we are, moving forward with getting residents to disconnect their stormwater from the system, and where they had clean water connections improperly connected. So we've had an initial round of people come back to us, and then we have some that we haven't heard from yet. So at some point we'll send another letter to try to get as much compliant as possible, and then we'll report back where we are once we get a significant feedback. Then we'll, there might be some areas that we want to pursue even more if we have a connection that's providing a great amount of stormwater inflow into our system. So we'll let you know, but right now we've probably got about 25-30% people have gotten back to us already, so it's a good turnout.
The only thing I'd like to just add, those pump stations look like they're going great, and you wrote in there we're on track. So anything, knock on wood, we're looking good.
Yeah, I think we're looking good. There's a couple of change orders that are typical coming for next month, but yeah, nothing bad to report on that project. Right?
Any questions for Mr. Casey?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. O'Brien?
just out of curiosity, John, or maybe Tom, do we have any idea how many homes have septic in Stratford, percentage-wise or numbers?
Primarily it's the north end. We have a group, several in Lordship that haven't connected yet. In the north end, there's areas that don't have sewers at all. And then we have a smattering throughout town that we find out about once in a while. Right, exactly. I don't have a number. I could probably get a number for you, but it's probably, 5% of the parcels in town, something like that, 5 to 10. Yeah, we could get the number. I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Any other questions for Mr. Casey on his report? Greg? Yeah, on his whole report, yep.
Yes. No, the Clean Water Fund loan is for the pump station project. We will start borrowing against it as soon as the state closes on the loan or gives us the agreement. We haven't started borrowing against it yet. We've been funding the project ourselves at this point. As soon as the paperwork is completed, we'll submit for reimbursement, and that'll start our interest rate time clicking. When the project is complete, a year from now, we will do a formal closing of the loan and set up a 20-year payback schedule. Right, but in the meantime, we'll start to accrue the interest starting probably next month, because we'll start to get reimbursement for what we've spent so far.
Any other questions for Mr. Casey? Nope. Okay. John, thank you very much. Mr. Hyde, how are you? Good, thanks. So we have your report. Are there any action items that you need from us tonight?
Sorry. Yes, the one item that I added on the bottom for new business, Friday, VFD variable frequency drive or a controller for one of our effluent pumps failed. Need to replace this. It's $14,750. I can draw the funds from a couple of my accounts. I just want the authorization to spend the funds to get the replacement part.
So, Mr. Casey, excuse me, Tom, Mr. Hyde brought this to my attention today. It was obviously not posted last week because it just came about. So I'd like a motion to amend the agenda to add this on it.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Tavares, thank you. Any discussion on amending? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. So now the item is on the agenda, and I'll entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Connor, second. Second by Mr. O'Brien. Any discussion on this? Nope. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Hyde, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. Next item on the agenda is under new business, old business. So to establish and revise the charges in connection with and the use of the sewer system. As everyone was provided, the proposed commercial is 4.62 per annum. And proposed residential is $396 per annum. As you'll know, that this is the same rate as proposed as last year. There is no increase nor no decrease. So I will entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Connor. Second by Mr. Perillo. Any discussion on the item? Nope. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Thank you. And would anyone like to do the honors of the last item? Mr. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Perillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you all for a great meeting. Appreciate it.